Hey Heights Church, it's Pastor Tim. I'm excited to share a little bit with you about reframing how I'm going to look at some things in the new year. So first of all, Happy New Year. And last week I talked out of Romans 12, 1 and 2, and I want to build on that. If you didn't tune in, here's kind of what it says. In chapter 12, verse 1 of Romans, it simply says this, do not be conformed to this world. Like, don't allow your thinking to be of this world. He says, but instead, it said, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind and learning to renew the way we think. We can get influenced by all of the things that are coming from politics in the news, with the COVID, what to believe, what not to believe. And I think we should pay attention to those things, but I don't think we should allow it to help us shape the way we think. We should renew our minds, and so that we will know the good, perfect will of God. So I want to build on that today, because renewing your mind or rethinking or reframing is something we probably need a little more detail on. And so there is this verse, and it's in Philippians. And so when we think about renewing our mind, right, or reframing or thinking through something differently so that we can be different, first of all, the things that we focus on, the things that we need to be thinking about should line up with God's heart. We want to make sure, one, that it lines up with God's heart. That we're not reframing our thinking, right, or renewing our thinking to frame how we respond to this world with something that does not line up with the heart of God. I don't know about you, but man, last year, my emotions kind of went up and down a lot. And I really I felt like a kid at times, like holding on to the leg of Jesus, and he's kind of dragging me along. Like I had to hold on for everything I had, because I would allow my mind sometimes and my emotions to kind of wander. But yet, if I renew my mind, I will know what the good and perfect will of God is. So what do we renew our mind? Where do we start? Well, first of all, let me just read to you out of Philippians chapter 4. And it's in just verse 8. So Philippians 4, verse 8. And it says this, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, and whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, and whatever is admirable or admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me, this is Paul writing to the Philippians. So like Paul is saying, like, whatever you've heard from me as I've taught the things that God has shown me and we have taught you, if he's basically saying that anything you have heard from me or seen in me, put into practice, and the God of peace will be with you. Now, first of all, when we read that list, here's what I want you to focus on, because there's a lot of things that people will say are true and what are pure and right, but let's think of it in the context of God's character, right? God's character. Now, we know that there are what we call non-transferable attributes of God. His sovereignty, all those things, all-knowing, all-powerful. Those are his attributes. They belong to him and only him. But there are transferable attributes that you and I can live out in our lives. And our anchor point, our focus point, is the transferable attributes that we see about God in this passage, right? Because whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, those are things that we see in God. And so we should focus and think about the things that are right about God's heart, the things that are noble, the things that are pure. And we should align our thinking that way. We should think about those things. Those things aren't going to get us squirrely and get us off and get us focused and draw out the anger in us when we don't like the way that politicians are calling the shots, or the way that we're not allowed to do these things. But yet, if we fix our minds on the things of God and his character, things that are true, that are pure, that are right, the things that we know are God's heart, right? The things that are admirable, the things that are lovely, the things that are praiseworthy, we can reframe the way we think. Reframe the way you and I think when we focus on those things of God. So I want to challenge you. Open your Bible, look at that Philippians 4:8 passage and take a look. And spend some time thinking and reframing. That's my goal. My goal is to spend more time with the Lord, so I don't feel like I'm just barely holding on to his leg, getting dragged, but that I'm walking hand in hand. And I know at times God is going to have to pick me up. He's going to have to carry me, throw me over his shoulder. Good thing he's a powerful, strong God, because I'm a big guy. But he has no problem carrying me when I need to. But I need to personally change the way I think and think upon those things so that I can present myself and align my heart with God and present myself to be used by him to be a blessing in the life of others. So let's reframe the way we think. Think about those things that are true and pure and noble and admirable, praiseworthy, and just watch how it changes the way you see and interact with the world. We love you. Hope you're enjoying your new year so far, and I'll see you next time.